Welcome to another episode of Two Gents, 2 Cents, brought to you by 15 Minutes of Finance. This is episode 11, Stop Getting Your Financial Advice from Social Media. We're excited to bring you this episode. This episode is inspired by recent events, sort of. More just a continuation of constant trends that we see. I definitely have tax clients who will send me things they see online. Can I do this? Should I be utilizing this? Should my business be organized like this? And I know James gets the same thing. If people, should I invest? Hey, I saw this company. Should I invest in this company? Should I pull my money out? I heard the market's going to collapse. Should I bring my money out? And you get a lot of advice from social media, and a lot of people turn to financial advisors, CPAs, to verify that advice. So first of all, that's a good idea. You should be verifying advice you find online with the professionals that you work with and trust. But the overall point of the episode is discouraging you from taking financial and tax and expertise advice from social media, specifically social media clips and cuts and content production platforms, rather than professionals who know what they're doing. Yeah. Do you have any recent examples of a specific instance of this? Like, what's advice you got or advice that you kind of had to turn down that someone got online? They're reading articles, they're watching reels, and why was it bad advice?
Yeah, sure. So the ticker CRWD. Okay, I'm not
CRWD.
CRWD.
Run for president.
I think it's CrowdStrike is the company. It's a good company. They've been around for a while. I know very little about them, but I know they do like cybersecurity, and they've been skyrocketing the last 12 months. I had a client today be like, hey, I was talking to them about Crowd. I was talking to them about investing in Crowd. And today they sent me a whole bunch of stuff that it was just analysts saying that it was overpriced, overbought. They would not hold on to it. They would not buy it. They would sell it. And I looked at some of the dates on when that was. Some of them were 18 months ago. And it's like they just now read that, and they read it as if that was written today. So that's the most recent example. And my first thought was, you have no idea what you're talking about. If an analyst is already talking about it, it's already late. It's already late. If it's already out there, it's probably too late for whatever advice they're giving.
And the level of outdatedness of those articles proves how inaccurate they were, right? Because if people were saying 18 months ago, hey, you shouldn't buy this is a sell, not a hold, and now 18 months later it's still on the rise and people are saying, hey, don't hold, sell. Yeah. At some point, someone will be right with that advice, but it just shows that 5 people will be wrong until eventually someone happened to time it with the actual height of its stock price.
That's exactly right. So that's that saying, a broken clock's right twice a day.
Exactly.
Right. With these types of analysts, and I don't want to get too much into the weeds, but at least in my side of the field here, you have investment banks that do investing that also have the investment analysts. So that analyst is making recommendations or suggestions, and the investment bank might be doing the complete opposite. Right? So they're working, and trust me, they talk to each other. There's a term called the Chinese wall that suggests that they don't talk to each other legally, but they talk to each other. Okay? And all you have to do is look at their trading habits for that. Okay? Because when an analyst at Goldman Sachs, or not to call them out, anywhere big name, name brand, writes something, people react. And then the bank is able to react off of that. And so that's why everyone's like, the big bank, the big money's corrupt. Well, that's just because they're a step ahead of you.
Yeah.
So that's why I always just take every online social media advice with a grain of salt. Most likely the person saying it has incentive saying it.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not even so much that they're a step ahead of you. That's a huge component, obviously. But it's also that they're so big, they can basically self-fulfill their own prophecies, right? If you're Goldman Sachs and you really wanted to, like, we're betting it all on this. We're urgent headline news. Sell this stock. They're about to go under. The stock price of that company would drop. It would, because there's enough people that are literally have accounts that are tracking Goldman Sachs, that carefully follow Goldman Sachs, that read what Goldman Sachs says. that if they put all their eggs in the basket saying this will go down, and then they just bought shorts on that position, meaning they make money if the stock goes down rather than up, they'll make money on that position because they can, to some level, fluctuate the price just by throwing their weight around.
Yeah.
And that's why you'll see, this is the same reason that you see Elon Musk in the news about things like this. People argue, well, he's fluctuated between the number 1 and number 5 most wealthiest man in the entire world with that level of investment and ownership of companies that are so dominant in the Fortune 500. If he just says something, it has sway even if there's no legitimacy to it. And so now he is his own stock analyst, because if he just says it'll go down, it will, because just him saying it means enough people will sell that now the algorithms say, "Ooh, everyone's selling this. No one believes in this company anymore." Now it goes down.
Well, so just to give a little personal inside scoop, Brandon and I are actually victims of this on the positive side. So we dorked around with crypto probably when we shouldn't have, but it was a couple years ago when Shiba Inu was a thing, and I had never, that was the very first crypto I'd ever invested in, but I had done enough research into it that I was like, I kind of like this thing. And so I told him, I was like, just put $50 into it. And this is when it was, I don't even know the number mathematically, what the term was, what the name is, name for it is, but it was 0.000005, I think, when I told him to invest.
Yeah, the 10,000th of a cent.
10,000. Yeah, like a crazy fraction that doesn't really even exist in financials. Well, Elon Musk put a tweet out, and it was just a picture of his Shiba Inu. And what happened to Shiba Inu?
350% the next day.
Like I look like a genius, but I just liked the concept of like their platform that they were going to use.
Yeah, we had made this as a fun experiment. It wasn't a real investment. He said put 50, I put 100 because I trust him. But so I had $100. The next day it was 327, something like that. It was almost 350%, and then within 2 weeks, it stabilized and it went back down to 100, and now I don't know, it's like $120 maybe now. It's up 20-30%.
I should have told him to sell at 300, but I didn't. I said hold that baby.
We would have had some serious track record in crypto. As long as you just say percents and don't say numbers, we'd be killing the crypto game. But it does show that you can make decisions, and just because sometimes you're right doesn't mean that the advice is good if it's not coming from someone who is divorced of a significant amount of incentive, or at least is an expert in the field that knows what they're talking about. Yeah. So I get this all the time too. I get clients sending me stuff that says, and it's usually this sentiment, because it's very easy to get people to click on things like this. Why do only the rich get to take advantage of these tax codes? It's a code. It's a game. You got to play the game. You got to utilize the code. If Elon Musk can do it, if Jeff Bezos can pay $0 in taxes, so can we. Let me tell you something off the bat. Jeff Bezos pays an F-load of money in taxes. Now, there are elements of his portfolio, there is a notorious year where Amazon paid nothing in taxes. The capital gains taxes he paid is still millions and millions of dollars. They just, oftentimes they don't pay income taxes because their entire net worth is tied up in investments. I'm not saying the rich shouldn't pay more. This isn't a political statement. I'm just saying the idea, even in and of itself, that the rich don't pay taxes. I do some tax returns for some rich people. Boy, do they pay a lot in taxes. They get hit with massive tax bills. I have clients, information I see, their estimated payments every quarter are over $1 million to the IRS, because that's how much they're going to owe, and they're projecting their income and they're paying estimated taxes on it. So this idea that everyone can pay zero if you just play the game, that's a myth, guys. It's a myth.
What's it called? Whenever it's like clicks for views or titles for views, or because like
clickbait.
Clickbait. Sorry,
yeah.
Jeez Louise, that's showing my age.
Pay per view.
Pay for views.
We're watching wrestling videos.
Yes, we were watching UFC 105. But no, okay, so they're using clickbait. The schemes the rich use.
Yeah, it's just a misinterpretation. So if you can get people to believe this concept that the rich don't pay taxes, well, it's really easy to get you to believe you shouldn't pay taxes because you're under the same tax code. That makes sense. But the whole premise is a lie to begin with. So the idea that you can just, as long as you know the rules and you follow their course and you buy their book, you too can pay $0 in taxes, that's most of the time not true. There are legit tax loopholes. There are legitimate tax deductions that are very discreet. A lot of people don't know about. CPAs can help you save on taxes, okay? That's true. But this concept that, there's these tricks and there's these tools, and this is the ultimate thing I kind of want to put out there with this episode. The people who will make the most money on financial advice to you are people who give very ambiguous, on the bad side of questionable advice. Because in order to make money, this is the monetization model of financial influencers. You need people to watch a little bit. It means you can't be super clear right out the gate. You need them to keep watching your video because you have to show that there's a time watched. Then you need people to share the video. How do you get people to share the video? They share it because it's wrong and they want to crap on it with their buddies like I send James. Here's another stupid influencer giving terrible advice that's going to get people audited. Well, I just shared that. That's a share. That ups them in the algorithm. Or it's ambiguous enough that it's like, what's the Augusta rule? That's my new favorite. We'll talk about that. But what's the Augusta rule? Oh, I've heard about the Augusta rule. Big momentum swing right now on social media. The Augusta rule. The Augusta rule can save you all these taxes. So they send it to a tax professional. They send it to a buddy of theirs that's more established. Hey, do you utilize this? I know you run a business and I know you take advantage of these tax things, blah, blah, blah. That's the way they make money. You can never make money with their advice. You can never buy their stuff. You can never listen to all their full-length tutorials. They can make tens of thousands of dollars just by confusing you and misleading you, because that's how the monetization and the algorithms work. You have to understand that. So if something seems kind of unclear or something seems too good to be true, it is. They're just getting you to try to share it. And if it's really simple, borderline boring advice, you're not going to share it.
Yeah.
There's probably not going to be a lot of shares on the videos that come out of this episode.
Yeah.
Because we don't say things that are get-rich-quick schemes. Here's how you can hide $5 million. Here's how I create a loss on my taxes, even though I made $4 million that year. It's a lie, guys. Someone says they made $5 million last year and they have a loss on their tax return. It's a lie, or they're committing fraud. There's no ways to do that. You can't not launder money and make $4 million of legitimate business income disappear. It can't happen.
And the other thing too with all this, and if you just take social media and expand it to just like something useful. Okay, so like I have a good stock I want people to invest in. I'm not telling you that here for free. Okay, I'm not doing that. And any financial person that's using social media, they're trying to get clicks, they're trying to get views, and they're trying to get you to either buy something or share something. It's kind of, they use the excitement of it.
Yeah.
And the best example of this is in The Big Short. And it's when Ryan Gosling is narrating a moment where they're talking about I think it's when Margot Robbie's in the bathtub or something. And basically they're talking about a complex financial instrument. And he goes, wait a second, let me not bore you with all that. Just like the bankers would. They just want you to give them their money and leave them the F alone. That's what they want from you. Okay, give them your money and leave them alone. And we're doing social media right now, but we're sort of crapping on it. What we're trying to do here is to get you excited about investing, to get you excited about taking care of your financial health. We're not going to probably make nearly as much money doing this as if we had you as a client. So we're not incentivized at our best to do this. That's why I think we're in a good spot to talk about this stuff, because we see this every day, and it's true. I make the most money when I have a client who just gives me their money and leaves me alone. Now, I don't necessarily like that because I want them to be excited and understand, and I want them to be a part of the process. But most of the time, you're viewed as either a click, a share, or just a number that someone can add to their bank account.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that touches on a good point. Like, obviously, you're going to listen to this episode and go, aren't you giving me financial advice on social media? Like, what are you talking about? So I would say, number one, absolutely treat all of our videos with the exact same level of skepticism that we're encouraging you to do. We're not saying we're giving good advice, don't listen to the others. Absolutely listen to everything we say with skepticism. You should get second opinions. If we just, in passing, mention a stock, hey, the stock is doing really well, we're not telling you to invest in it, but even if it's, they seem to talk about it in a good light, go read some other articles about it. Don't invest it because we mentioned it in passing. We're not giving you action items that make us money or that promise to make you a lot of money. All the things we've talked about, since we've rebooted this podcast, we're 4 or 5 episodes in. Not a single thing we've talked about will make you money under like a 20 to 30 year time period.
Yeah.
Like this isn't stuff that we're trying to get people to click because they go, oh my God, did you know how much money you could save or how much money you could make? We're telling you good ways to invest long term. So yeah, absolutely validate what we're saying. Every number we've ever given you, run through a future value calculator and make sure we're not feeding BS to you. But the people who just all they do is make short clips, look at their credentials. So I would say let's go down the list and look at a couple things that you can do to verify and at least give some healthy skepticism to the financial content that you consume online. I would say, number one, verify their credentials. So someone's giving you financial advice, and this happens all the time now. Once someone becomes an influencer, a personality, often they're way out of their field. They're just influencing things that they have no idea about, that they don't work in. You look at interviews with all these type of guys. I'm not calling out anyone in particular, but you look at Dave Ramsey, Chris Cron, David Goggins. There's videos where he'll give, investment advice or money thing.
Tony
how you
Robbins,
have to clamp down on your money. David Goggins isn't a money guy. Like that's not his bread and butter. Dave Ramsey isn't a real estate agent, but boy, is he going to give you advice on how to never take a mortgage unless you can pay it in cash, right? Like if you're watching that video, you should immediately go and listen to actual real estate agents' articles that they post online and full form content that they've made. That may absolutely vindicate Dave Ramsey as excellent advice. You may also find that particular advice he gave is not very good because I've verified it and I've cross-checked it with people who actually are specialists in that field. Look, James has multiple acronym certification things you can add to the end of his name. There's also a ton of things he's not certified to talk about and won't ever talk about because we don't do that. We don't specialize in that. I definitely don't. He doesn't. He's not going to give you tax advice because I'm a CPA. I'm also not going to give you super specialized trust tax advice because I work very little with trusts. So you have to be consuming content from people who are experts in their field, not just tangentially related to what they're talking about, because that's probably not very good advice if they don't have certifications, work experience, and legitimate expertise in the realm that they're talking about.
Yeah, and if you guys are a good example of this is options. So we do very little options work. And if you guys don't know what an option is, it's just a type of investment vehicle that you can do. It's like buying into a stock or a bond, for a lack of better terms. We don't really do a lot of that. I know how to do it, but I definitely would say I'm not an expert on it.
Yeah.
Right? I know how to do it at the surface level. But there are people who want to get involved in that. They're like, let's start watching options trading, and they have their technical analysis charts with the candlesticks and the breakthrough surface level. They have all those funny terms that it makes them feel knowledgeable, right? And then there's people who don't have any actual governmental, legal, educational background making these trades actually in this field, but that they're making these videos, right? And then people are buying and subscribing these products, and they're looking to them as if they're experts. And then what happens whenever things go bad? You're to blame. They don't have any responsibility. So you guys have to own your own advice, wisdom, content, whatever you would want to say. Whenever I make a mistake for a client, I'm responsible. Like I am, there's legal routes you could take. Good Lord willing, that never happens to us. But like if someone who you're just watching on YouTube who claims to be an expert, there's no, you could buy their $99 training kit and lose all your money.
Yeah.
So that's there's too much to risk is really what I would say.
Yeah, and that touches on the second thing I was going to say, which is there accountability on the advice that they're giving? I would say that's a really good thing to think about when you look at the person giving the advice. So, for example, we talked about this in 2 episodes ago, and we mention it in most episodes because it's a very important concept. Our firm and us individually, we're fiduciaries. There's tons of restrictions. There's audits. We just finished a California audit. As soon as we get to a certain amount under management, we immediately get subject to the SEC. And now we're subject to their rules, their requirements, their regulatory compliance rules, their random audits. So there's lots of things that like to even start this podcast, our lawyer had to go through and certify all of our disclosures and statements to say, are they giving financial advice without learning too much about these people? Are they giving bad financial advice? So we had to go through a ton of different check boxes to make sure what we're doing is ethical. And that's why you won't find us ever giving you specific investment advice. Oh, you should go buy this stock right now. Go buy Palantir. Go buy NVIDIA. We're not going to tell you to do that. We're going to inform you on some options and let you make your own decisions, because it would literally be unethical for us as fiduciaries to even give that advice to you if we haven't done a portfolio analysis of you and gone over your risk tolerance and your age and your preferences. So a lot of people, if they're not a fiduciary, if they're not an IRA firm, they're not even a financial advisor, it's just they're on an interview somewhere because they're an influencer talking about money, there's no recourse for them. There's nobody auditing them. There's no regulatory compliance. They're just a random person giving advice designed to monetize anger, clicks, and confusion.
Yeah. So
if that's the motive of the person that you're consuming content from, the chances are you're not getting good advice. Go ahead.
Sorry.
No,
just before I forget this, to add on top of that, these people, let's use options again. So there are people who trade options. I think, and I don't know specifics, I never saw their accounts, but they did well enough apparently to live off of it. Okay, so I don't know if they have inheritance they got somewhere else or a payout from a lawsuit or something, but they did not have another job. All they did was trade options. Okay, I know maybe 2 people who are successful. I've probably met 100 who do it. They're like, yeah, options, that's my thing. So 98 people have to fail for 2 people to be successful. So think about it in that context. It makes sense for those 2 people to now sell, hey, look, I'm good at this, like learn from me. And then you're probably one of the 98 for another 10 years. So it's like this process of becoming successful via your social media advice content that you're watching, very, very unlikely.
Yeah, I would say too, what kind of crystallizes this is if there was one podcast we would want to do, it'd be talking about basketball analysis. It'd be talking players and doing that. Yeah. We don't have the expertise in that field. That's why we didn't start that podcast. We talked about it, okay? But let me tell you, if we had decided to do it and I sat in front of a mic and I started talking about the playoffs basketball, I would be talking with such authority.
Vigor.
Oh my God, I'd be so pumped up. And you would then probably, most people would never click on my profile. I think the most recent data on Facebook article said 87%. Hopefully I'm not taking that percentage out of thin air, but it's for sure over 80% of people do not share an article or do not read an article they share. Not just comment on, share. They share it to their page because they read the title and they just go, oh, that's interesting. No fact checking at all. So nobody would even click on my profile to know Brandon was homeschooled, played basketball from like a random dad was his coach, and then played intramural ball at Point Loma. Like, why is he like talking bad about Jason Tatum in the NBA Finals right now? And I would be going after it. So that's who you're getting is you're getting me as if I was a basketball person, but that's them talking about what we're talking about. If they aren't a CRPC, they don't have an RIA, they're not certified, they're not subject to the SEC, they're not subject to FINRA, any of these things. They don't know what they're talking about. They might as well be debating if I'm against JJ Redick. That's the equivalent of their advice versus our advice. And we know when we're out of our depth and we don't go there and we don't try to advise you to do stuff and we don't tell you can hide $2 million of income because of this random rule you might have heard about. So this is the real thing if you want to know the darkness of the monetization side of the internet while we're on the basketball topic. One of the most fascinating things to me is the Michael Jordan versus LeBron debate in the context of social media. Because, look, the debate's never going to be settled. You know, it's at the heart of it, longevity versus peak, and there's never going to be a right answer. Obviously, most people are very divided by generations. But here's the crazy thing. Go on videos of LeBron James. Every single comment that has been prioritized by the algorithm will be talking about why he's a crybaby, why he doesn't have the killer instinct, and why Jordan was better. But the interesting thing is then go on Michael Jordan highlights, and you know the comments you'll see? we done with the 90s. He played against plumbers. He was garbage. He didn't have a left hand. Like, there's unironic streams of the internet about how Michael Jordan didn't have a left hand. Even as a hardcore LeBron person, that's a ridiculous argument, okay? There's highlight reels of him dunking on people with his left hand. But that's what the internet does. Everything about LeBron is negativity. But then if you go to Jordan, it's not those same people who were talking bad about LeBron and backing up Jordan on the LeBron video. The people on the Jordan video are the Jordan haters because the algorithm prioritizes engagement and sharing and commenting. Most people don't comment on videos they love. They just like it and go, that was cool, and they keep scrolling. So the people in the financial space, how much more careful do you have to be when they're telling you to put these things on your tax return as write-offs? They're telling you to invest in these companies. And their engagement that they're trying to get to make money, they make more money if they're wrong and you're angry. That's the system that this advice exists in.
Can I just talk about the algorithm?
Let's do it.
Okay, so whenever I was living in my parents' basement trying to start this financial company. Okay, so this is
real Steve Jobs. Remember this in 20 years.
Jeez,
all right.
Louise. And I remember I was bumming off some other advisor's office in my hometown. Shout out Prescott, Arizona. And I was trying to make videos. I was like, I want to get I'll start now, just simple content, like very basic, low level stuff. And I remember I made a video, and I thought it was good. I thought it was great. And within maybe 8 minutes, strangers who I'd never met, I could probably still find the comment. It was like low-level testosterone, beta male, receding hairline. And I'm like, that's all. What are you doing? Like, so yeah, I think there is hate gets the ball rolling. And there was plenty more people who were positive and kind, and it worked out pretty well for me. But just talking about the negativity is that seems to work. That seems to work.
It does. You'll see there's a specific couple on Instagram, and I don't know their name, so I won't just take a random guess and crap on somebody I don't know. But there's this couple that's become famous. You know, they talk about random stuff. They do a podcast. They do reaction videos, whatever. And you'll notice, only because I saw enough of their videos, I guess, or my wife shared enough of their videos, that I would see semi-consistently their videos. You can see a shift in their videos where everyone, before is like, oh, you're so lucky. Oh, how can I get a guy like this? And all their videos are designed to make both couples look very good. And then all of a sudden, you'll notice a shift, and the husband starts saying things that are just a little that's off-putting. Like, I wouldn't talk to my wife like that. Not a complete asshole, not someone who's really being mean, but just you're kind of like, it's not really how I talk to my wife. And now the engagement, every comment, oh, dude, I don't like this guy. This guy gives me the ick. Because they figured out that if they just subtly put in things on crapping on the husband, the demographic that watches their videos would more likely comment if they're like, dude, I don't like this guy. Men are scum. And it's the same thing on the guys' videos. You see all these videos where they interview random people. I guarantee you 90% of those girls they interview on the street haven't done any of those things they said. They don't believe anything they say. But then you read those comments, and it's 50,000 comments about how women are trash. And it goes both ways. The social media world is designed for engagement. They do not care about the purity of the engagement. They do not care about the reason for the engagement. They make money when you engage in any way. We don't make $1 at this. We've never made $1 up till now on content. We've started doing this as a way to just share what we talk about on a daily basis. And the more we get clients, we realize people don't really have access to this content because this is the world that we live in. This is the content cycle that we all exist in. And these people who make money on this is the ecosystem. And it's not that they're bad people. It's that of every video, the videos you go, oh, that wasn't really
That's how they make
true.
money. That's their main breadwinner.
That's how they make money. And so if you go back and watch those videos and you go, oh, man, I was actually a little bit wrong on that. I added a zero. You won't have $5 million. You'll have $500,000 when you retire. But that was my most engaged video. Do I have an incentive to go back and change what I said? No. Not going to do that. That's my best video. I'm going to reshare it every Tuesday. That's the ecosystem people engage in and make content in. So when you're consuming and making financial advice and opinion and actions for your future based on advice that you consume in this ecosystem, the motive is all wrong. You're almost never going to be doing the right thing because almost by definition, if it's popular and it's engaged with and it's got millions of likes, it's probably not good advice because it wouldn't be engaged in to that level if it was just really good, simple advice that people actually use.
Yeah, I guess just to reiterate, like how are we different? Like we don't make money off of this. This isn't our main money maker. It's something we like to do, and it also keeps us sharp. Is kind of the other thing I would say is it keeps us on top of stuff, on top of news, on top of just things happening, what's interesting in the world of finance and tax. And this isn't our main money maker. So I would say a lot of these people who are making this content, the content is their money maker.
Oh yeah,
and that's why
the
they're
thing.
going after it. Regardless of, I don't even know what you would say they're sacrificing. I guess the purity of the content is what you would be sacrificing. So that's why it's just, you guys got to do your own research. And I know it's hard. Trust me, I've been one of those 87% of people that just send the title. It sounds good. It sounds good. It feels good. But usually you need to do your own research.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Maybe there's someone, I'm trying to think now. So we've been just talking about how the whole system's, kind of rigged by design. But what are
who's a good person?
Yeah, whether it's a newsletter, whether it's a social media person, what's a channel that people can get like pretty good advice on that you think?
Joe Rogan. Okay.
Go watch Terrence Howard's math on Joe Rogan Experience, and then use that math to project your investments.
Okay, this is not political in any way. Okay, but I really do enjoy interviews with Jordan Peterson. I do think that he is so interested in the content. So, sometimes he pushes stuff, like he'll push the carnivore diet, or he'll push making your bed and how men are like lobsters. But like that's besides that point, when you Christopher Hitchens. So, okay, he's had conversations about Christopher Hitchens. Christopher Hitchens has talked about him previously, and I think there's a purity when they speak. That's the only person I can think of. I know the content is subjective, but I think it's pure.
There's definitely people that they're really good in certain elements. Like if you struggle with spending, go immediately subscribe to Dave Ramsey.
That's true.
Like that's his whole career. Like he's helped a lot of people.
Budget king.
If you struggle with budgeting and spending habits, and particularly like the patterns of spending within marriages, like how do we get into this problem together because we don't have a combined budget, miscommunication that way. He's phenomenal. Dave Ramsey has 1 million episodes and reels and stuff. That's the guy. But then he'll make advice about, well, if I ran a business, would I get a business loan? No, I don't believe in debt. Well, I would say you're out of your depth now, Dave Ramsey. Like businesses leverage debt. Almost all of the successful businesses do it. Doesn't mean go get in debt to immediately start a business, right? Again, I'm not going to create a clickbait thing that tells you to go or don't get debt in 5 seconds. But the point is that idea, well, he's not an expert in that area. And I would say that that's probably not good universal advice to take everywhere else. But if you struggle with budgeting, if your issue is your credit card debt, he's the man. Absolutely don't get debt under any circumstances because that's your problem. And he has really good, tangible steps and processes to get your debt under wraps. He's great at that. So people have their areas of expertise, and it's really important to not consume them as a personality, but rather take their advice, have some healthy skepticism, cross-check it with other sources, and listen to them in their field, but have a healthy amount of humanity to those people. In the same way where we love athletes and then they make political opinions and people are all over it. And it's like, okay, I don't care about what he says about that. That's not why I watch him. I think he's really good football player. I don't care what they say politically. So those are the things where I think you have to watch. The moment someone steps out of their field, you have to think, why are they doing this? Why do they feel confident doing this when they didn't go to school for this? They're not experts in this. They don't work in this area. Now you need some skepticism of why are they doing this? This doesn't seem right when they don't exactly know what they're talking about, and now they're stepping into this field.
I can't think of, in fact, any young person who's like a content creator that isn't severely incentivized by their content. The only people I can think of, like Warren Buffett's a great example. Everything he says it for the general person, even though he invests for the ultra wealthy.
Yeah.
Like all of his advice is like, don't do what I do. Don't listen to me. Like you do X, Y, and Z, and you'll be a millionaire. Like he'll speak that way to the general person. I think that's kind of lost amongst our generation. But I think that's because Warren Buffett doesn't need to hype anything up. He's making his money another way.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to follow the money, is what I would say.
Yeah, I think there is also there are areas where people are incentivized to not create engagement, and I think there's a small ecosystem of the internet where those clicks do you no good, like us. Where the game plan is not to have 100,000 people listening to our Instagram reels and we make money on ads. Like that's not what we want to do. We would like people to call us and say, hey, you guys seem really intelligent. We'd love to talk to you about being our financial advisor.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. We'll be completely upfront about that. If people watch this and come to us for tax services or financial management, awesome, great. Like that totally works for us. We would be happy to help you. That's the incentive here. If a bunch of random people who are 20 with no investments watch our reels, that doesn't help our business at all. So there's no incentive there to try to just create this mass appeal kind of clickbait stuff, because that mass appeal for our model doesn't work. And there's other people in that space. So I work with someone, he's also a good friend of mine, who works in the wedding event spaces, right? So you'll see some of his videos on YouTube, they have 80 views, and you'd be like, oh, he's like a startup channel. He's gotten clients that he now manages their venues from that channel, because the people who are watching specific sales techniques for wedding venues, like if they've clicked on that video with a remote amount of interest, they're in the wedding design space. And so they're interested in potentially soliciting somebody who can help them. It's the same way we've gone to multiple business conferences where we went back to back with a month between them, and the second one was twice as successful for us, despite the fact that attendance was a 25th as high.
Way less.
Because it was all people who owned a business in that field and were there to look for, well, I need someone to do my 401k. I need someone to do my books. I need someone to do payroll. Where the previous business conference, there was a lot of general attendees in the mix. There's a lot of people who just went because the conference was cool and they wanted to look at all the stuff. So it doesn't matter that we were in front of 20,000 people. 1% of them were clients, where I'd rather be in front of 200 people where 80% of them potentially could be clients. So that's the thing, where there are people who they do create good content because their model is they want the type of people who share. They can watch a 90-second reel of us talking about the long-term payout of maximizing your Roth IRA, and they share that with 2 people. And both of those people are very interested. That's great for us. That's what we'd love the algorithm to boil our audience down to. We hope to help everybody. There's advice here for everybody, depending on the episode, but that's like the core of the incentive. There's people who have a much more specialized field. So in that sense, there are microcosms of the social media space where there is a slightly more pure incentive, that it's literally just, I'm making this content. I hope people now view me as an expert in this field. I make foam carving for industry, entertainment roller coaster parks where they need a dinosaur at the top of the ride for the theme. I make those. I don't need 100,000 views on how I make it. That's cool. Some people do that, and then people just watch them do art, and they have side revenue that way. Most of those people want 150 people to watch that video, and they're people that run the social media and marketing channels for amusement parks that are potentially soliciting a new dinosaur at the top of their roller coaster. So there are microcosms of the social media space that incentivize good content, but it is few and far between. And when you're consuming content, you'd better be very confident and check the people's credentials. Google them. Just go to at least to their homepage. Do they have certifications next to their name? Do they have a business in this field? Or does it just say entrepreneur, social media manager, influencer, content producer? That means they have no idea what they're talking about. That's what that's code for. Any final thoughts on staying safe out there for the kids on social media?
Don't get your financial advice from social media. That's my advice, because it's not to give you good advice. It's to get you to click it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Even for us, we'd say we give a lot better advice to clients we're sitting down with than we do to people who are watching reels.
Yeah.
Like, this is the best you can do in 90 seconds. The type of things that we talk about, or in a 40-minute podcast.
Yeah.
But the people that we talk to every quarter and go over investments with, they probably have a much better idea of why their investments are where they are.
Agreed.
Well, as always, we love the engagement, specifically in terms of questions. So we'd love to hear topics that we can cover in future episodes. So if you've got topics you've heard about, you've got social media advice you'd love to hear us talk about, get our opinion on, anything you'd like to hear in a future episode, we'd love to hear your opinions. Please share it with friends. Anybody who would be interested in learning more about how to take control of their own finances, we'd love to reach them. As always, I'm Brandon.
I'm James. Invest early.
Invest often.